Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. As you can see from the title, today I'm talking all about Botox and dermal fillers, specifically the lips. So if that is not something that interests you at all, that is perfectly okay. I will see you in my next one. This is for any of you guys who may be curious about the procedure, risks, benefits, any side effects. I will be sharing my personal experiences, and I'm sitting down with the wonderful Amy Michaels. She's the physician's assistant who performed both of my treatments. So I'm going to do a little Q&A with her at the end. That way you'll have both perspective of the patient and the expert. A few quick disclaimers before we jump right in. Number one, I will be sharing some video clips of the actual procedure. So if you hate needles, you're going to not want to watch that part. It might make you feel a little bit squeamish, but I do feel like it is very helpful if you've never had this done to see how the procedure actually goes down. Number two, Botox, dermal fillers, it is a personal choice and it is not for everybody. My intention in creating this video is simply to share information. It is not to try to convince anybody that they need Botox and filler. You absolutely do not. So if this doesn't align with your personal values, that is okay. I simply ask that we keep the comment section positive and open, so if anybody does have any questions, they feel comfortable to do so, and I feel like that's very fair. My third disclaimer is that everybody is going to have a different experience. I've had my lips filled 4 different times, and each time has been slightly different. 2 people could go to the exact same physician and have different experiences, so you're going to want to take that into consideration, really keep that in mind, and be your own advocate. Ask questions, make sure that you are 100% confident before you go through with anything that is going to alter your face in any way. You want to definitely take it seriously. And I would suggest, if this is your first time, don't search for the cheapest Groupon. Don't go to your sister's, aunt's, friend's basement Botox party. Use your common sense and you can have absolutely stunning, really incredible results. So let's get started. Beginning with Botox, back on May 20th, I had an appointment at Dr. Bauman Cosmetic Dermatology here in Miami to see my friend Amy Michaels about having my lips refilled. I'd had them done several times before, but it was back when I lived in Nashville, so they were really deflated, still a little bit plumper than they were previously, but they were uneven and I just felt like it was time to have them redone. And I also wanted to take the opportunity to sit down with her, have a consultation, talk about products, my skincare concerns, which really have revolved around my crow's feet. This has been an area where I've really struggled in the past couple years. I've noticed a huge difference, both with my makeup application, but also when I am completely fresh-faced and have no makeup on my skin, I can really see the fine lines starting to form around my eyes. It's something that I've tried tons of eye creams, lots of different topical products, but nothing has been really helping, and there's no concealer on the planet that isn't going to crease when you truly have deep set fine lines around your eyes. So I wasn't 100% sure what the best way to go would be. She took a good look at my face. I made all sorts of different expressions, and we sat down and we discussed treatment options. Ultimately, she recommended Dysport for my crow's feet. It's something that I will probably do once or twice a year going forward. And Botox has become sort of a general term, but really there are different brands and different types available on the market. Depending on what area you're treating and what your desired results are, your physician can make a recommendation for you. Botox is different from filler. You're not simply adding volume to the area, you're actually freezing the muscle so it can no longer make those expressions that are giving you the fine lines that no longer go away. So as we age, our skin loses collagen, it loses its elasticity, and it doesn't bounce back the way it does when you're very young. So as you age, the more expressive you are, you're gonna find lines forming in different areas. A lot of people do the 11s, or they get the horizontal lines on their forehead. These smile lines are really common. Because of my age, the shape of my face, the more I smile, talk, and express myself, I've been getting these lines around my eyes in the crow's feet area, and they just started to stick around. It's something that I noticed relatively recently, that there was just nothing that I could do. It just seemed to be getting worse and worse and worse. It didn't matter what type of concealer I used, what topical eye cream or eye serum I used. It just wasn't going away and these lines were getting worse. And truly, Botox is intended to be preventative, so it's not going to fix really deep set lines and wrinkles that you already have formed on your face. It's meant to help prevent them from forming in the first place by freezing the muscle. The actual procedure was really fast, easy, and not painful whatsoever. So I sat in the room for maybe 20 minutes with numbing cream on my face. The numbing cream is definitely necessary for lips, but for Botox, I think it was really just to make it a little bit more comfortable. There were only a couple pricks, so I only had a couple needles going in this area, but there was no lasting pain. So as soon as the prick is done, you kind of don't even feel it anymore. I don't know how to describe this sensation, but there is a sort of sensation that goes on in that area. But other than that, you really can't feel anything happening. And it's not an instant result. It takes a couple days for the Botox to take effect. And then you notice that you can't smile quite the same way. I felt like I was smiling, but the majority of my smiles sort of stayed in my cheeks instead of going all the way back to my eyes. And that's what has kept this area very smooth. I noticed such a huge difference in the couple days after the Botox. What an amazing result. Overall, my experience with the Botox has been overwhelmingly positive. I would highly recommend it to anybody who's interested to see a physician, ask questions, have a consultation. It has made such a huge difference in my self-esteem, the overall appearance of my face, and it's preventative. And considering the amount of money I have spent on creams and serums, the best of the best, I can say that the price was so worth it. And if I had known what I know now back then, I would have done this months ago, maybe even a year or two ago. I think I started at a good age. The lines are still there. They're much lighter, but they're certainly not getting worse. So it is more preventative. It didn't completely smooth out the area so that I have absolutely no lines on my face. No, that's not what it's gonna do. But has it made a drastic difference? Absolutely. Now let's talk about lips. When I went in for my appointment at the end of May, I had my lips filled with Juvederm, and then 2 weeks later at my follow-up appointment, I had a touch-up done then as well. And I had previously had them done twice before, and I absolutely loved the results. But I waited over 3.5 years, so it had been a very long time since my last treatment. Even still, my lips were bigger than they were before I ever started getting them filled. And that is quite common. They say the more times you have them done, you can go longer between treatments. It just starts to last even longer. The gel itself, the filler, is made up of hyaluronic acid, so it is found naturally in the body. It's not a foreign substance, but over time your body starts to break it down. So you'll find that they start to somewhat shrink and they'll get smaller and smaller and smaller until you're ready for your next fill, if it's something that you choose to continue doing. And in my personal experience, I found that after the second time, and perhaps it's because I waited so long, they didn't necessarily go down even. So my lips weren't 100% even, and I really wanted to get them filled for volume purposes. I wanted them to be a bit bigger. I felt like my top lip had almost completely shrunk, and I still had some volume in my bottom, but even still, they were also just not quite perfectly even anymore. The first 2 times I had them filled, they used the entire syringe each time, but since my lips had maintained some of that volume from before, I didn't necessarily need the whole thing this time. So when I went in, I asked Amy to fill my top lip. Of course, I wanted her to even them out, make sure that the proportion was right from top lip to bottom, and then I added a little bit more volume in the bottom. 2 weeks later, when I went in for my follow-up appointment, I felt like I wanted a little bit more in the bottom lip, so she helped give me a really pretty pillowy dumbbell effect, and she added a little bit more there on my 4th appointment. Each time I have had them filled has been a little bit different. So the first 2 times, I felt like I had even more swelling. They were really swollen for a long time, but I had very little bruising. The 3rd and 4th time around, I had a lot more bruising, but not as much swelling as I did the first couple times. It's sort of interesting how that works out. The bruising is a little bit tricky because it's not a very pretty appearance. However, you can easily cover it up with lipstick if you're going out in public. And of course, when I went to work, I just put on a deeper lipstick. And I would say that I'm overall more pleased with the result this last time. So I'm more in love with the shape, even though I did deal with a little bit of bruising. Not as much swelling though as before. My only complaint about lip fillers is the pain, because it does hurt, especially when you compare it to Botox, which has very minimal pain. The gel itself contains a numbing agent, and of course you are going to sit with the numbing cream on your lips, which makes it a little bit more comfortable. As you go through the procedure, each prick you're going to feel more and more numb. But it really doesn't matter. By the end, you are so over it, so ready to be done. It's a good thing it actually goes by very fast. The pain isn't enough to make me not want to keep having my lips filled. It's something that I will continue to do moving forward. But it's just something worth noting going into it. Of course, everybody has a different pain threshold as well. I consider myself to have a pretty high pain tolerance, but even for me, it does hurt. You're gonna have a little bit of tenderness for, a couple days afterwards, but then it completely goes away. So it's absolutely worth it. I think it's a very common misconception that if you have your lips filled, you are absolutely going to look like Kylie Jenner, when that is not the case at all. I would say that the Kylie Jenners of the world are probably in the 0.00001% of people who have their lips done. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you want to have your lips filled in that way, that is your personal choice. But it is not a guarantee. Most people who have their lips filled leave with a very natural result. In fact, this last time I had them done, I had filmed a video and I waited a couple days so that the swelling would mostly go down. But a couple people mentioned in the comments that they noticed something different, and people were asking if I had them done. And there was someone who made the comment that it was so unnecessary and she preferred my lips how they were before when they were natural. And I kind of laughed to myself because they haven't been natural for a very long time, for years. They still had some volume, even though it had been 3.5 years since my last treatment. My lips previously were very small and very thin, and I had to really overline them. And even when I did overline, they just were very small. And there's nothing wrong with very small, very thin lips. I just made the personal choice to plump them up a little bit more, and I love the way it looks, and I don't think it looks unnatural, especially now that it's been several weeks and several months since I had it done. 2 weeks later, no filter. These are the lips, the crows. So I'm just at my follow-up appointment. We're gonna check everything, make sure everything is perfect. I look in the mirror and I think to myself, I could maybe add a little bit more volume. And I think that that's the kind of the dangerous thing, is you get addicted to it, because if you love the result and you love the way your lips look when they're really plump, you kind of want to keep going. But that's also the good thing about having a really conservative physician, because I know Amy would say, absolutely not, you need to wait. She is very conservative in her approach, so I felt 100% comfortable going to her.
Hi everyone, my name is Amy Michaels and I'm a cosmetic dermatology physician assistant here at Bauman Cosmetic and Research Institute, and I'm here to answer all of your questions. Well, everyone's pain tolerance is different, but it's really very minimal, and we try to make you as comfortable as possible. We use numbing cream, we use ice, we use all these measures to kind of distract your nerves from feeling anything at all. If you do feel something, it'll be like a little bit of a sting. For Botox, it's very minimal. You might have some little areas that look like bee stings where you were injected, but they generally go down by the time you get to your car. Filler, you can definitely expect some swelling in your lips or in your face, depending on where you got the filler. You can have some bruising. You can have some bruising with Botox as well, but it's a little bit more common. We see it a little bit more often with people who are getting fillers. And a little bit of tenderness, possibly. That depends. Botox can last anywhere from 3 to 4 months. Some people are super lucky and it lasts like 6 months on them. It really depends. For filler, most of the fillers on the market are marketed for anywhere from 6 months to even 12 or longer, depending on the product that we're using and where we're putting it. You want to start getting your Botox when you start to make really deep lines when you're wrinkling. So when you're making your facial expressions, if you notice that, oh gosh, I'm starting to make some lines here, or if you notice that there's some fine lines there when you're not moving at all, that's when you want to get in. The sooner the better. Yeah, you can continue to get Botox for the rest of your life.
And same with filler?
Same with filler. And the good thing about filler is they've actually shown that the hyaluronic acid fillers can actually promote your own collagen production. So you're getting, you know, filler to help with that loss that you already have, but it can promote your own body to making the collagen again. I would say the most common misconceptions are that you're gonna look fake or overdone, and that is not our thing here. We do not want you to look fake or overdone. We want you to look as natural as possible, like yourself, just younger and maybe a little bit more awake.
And that completes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you found it helpful and informative. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave me any of your comments or your questions down below. If you have a question for our expert, Amy Michaels, you can contact her over on Instagram, and I would highly recommend you giving her a follow. She is constantly sharing really great product knowledge, skincare tips, and advice. I will link all of the information that you need to get in touch with her down in the description box, along with everything that I used today on my face. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.